This is a card I created using a Sweet Pea stamp called Angel of Christmas Stars, and the artist is Connie Fong. And the very first time that I saw this image, I ordered it because I really wanted to create a realistic looking snow globe to make this look three-dimensional, and I'll be showing how I created it in the tutorial. I've covered the card with vintage wedding lace, and I've added some Prima pearls and rhinestones and some snowflakes. And then the flowers are painted with frosted forget-me-nots and edged with waterfall stickles. And I've also added some sparkle to the wings. You can see that. We zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole card. Okay, we're going to start with the tutorial portion of the video. First, you need to have two images, one that's colored and then a second image that you're going to stamp, and then you're just going to color the arm to the elbow approximately, the other arm, and then part of the flower here and part of the flower here. Those are the portions that we're going to be using to make it pop up and make it look more 3D. I've already colored these so that you didn't have to watch me color and cut them out. So what I've done is I've colored them using the same colors that I colored the image, and then I've cut them out. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your scissors and you're going to look closely at the petal, and you're going to put a cut on each one of those lines, because we're going to use that to help it pop up a little bit more, because we want our snow globe to look more three-dimensional and the flower inside not to look flat. It looks kind of silly if you have a 3D globe with a flat flower inside. So, and then in keeping with that, we're going to make the flower on her head also three-dimensional so that you have a finished look with both flowers looking 3D. So once we've cut each one of those, we're going to just bend them up a little bit. The cuts just kind of help the flower to be able to move a little so that you don't have stiffness as much. So you could actually manipulate the petals a little bit if you wanted to. And I'm just kind of using my thumb to put it in the center and then fold it up so that it will come around that center. So now my little flower is a little bit more 3D. And I'm going to use glue. You could actually do this with your hot glue gun if you're not fond of putting globs. Sometimes regular glue is a little bit easier to work with than the glue gun for this part anyway. So just press it down just in the center. Now make sure that you didn't put glue on the petal part, because as long as you didn't put glue on the petal part, you can still manipulate it. You could even put, a paintbrush or a pair of scissors or something, and then you can kind of work this in case the card were to get smashed at some point from being in an envelope or anything like that. You could just make it 3D again. So there's our flower, and then we're going to do the same thing with the second flower. We're going to put a little bit of glue just in the center. And what I did is I made sure that when I put the flower down that it did not match. There was a reason I did that, because I don't want the flower in the center. See how I cut out more flower? It's because I want this center inside the globe to look more 3D. And I made sure that it didn't match because I want you to see more of the petals underneath, and I don't want them to look exactly the same. So just because it shows more petal in different spots. So I see I'm just going to hold that down so that I don't mess it up, and then I'll just lift those petals up. So we have a little bit more of a 3D look just to start with. And then you're going to have a circle cut out of acetate, which you could save your packaging. There are lots of different packaging that you can get that just has, it's just that plastic from packaging. So I cut it out to the shape that I need, as you can see. And then what I did is I put some of this stickles just around the edges. Hopefully you can see that. But I took my stickles and just went right around the edges, and kind of a thin coat, very gently, because you want the glitter like what you would have in a snow globe. So I did that and let it dry. So your acetate has the glitter dried on it already, and we will be positioning it where we want it to go. You're going to need a glue gun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just manipulate the portion of the snow globe a little bit till I find exactly where it's centered, where it should have been. And then I'm going to use the glue gun, and I'm going to glue just on the spots where her hands are, because these are going to be covered up. Remember how we made a second hand? So we're going to squeeze a little bit of glue, because all we want to do is just kind of anchor this thing down. And we're also going to create a little bit of dimension underneath the hand, so that little bit of glue blob underneath is fine. Just be careful you don't make the glob too big. And then we're just going to kind of wait and let it set for a second. Whoops. Take it up too soon. And then I'm going to put some glue on the other side, right where the other hand is. Just like that. That will give us a nice glued down base for the snow globe. That will give us a nice glued down base for the snow globe. So that should be nearly set there. And we're going to take the glue and go ahead and put it on the arm that we cut out. Remember I told you to cut out the 2 extra arms. And we're going to put glue down on the bottom portion of the arm, because we want this part to glue down flat, but we want the hand to glue on top of the snow globe. And I've chosen where I took the hand off on purpose so that it would be in a position where it's a little bit less obvious that we glued the hand on. So see how that just goes right on top of where the glob of glue was. Now if you need to, you can put another little glob of glue. Mine has already gotten a little bit cold, so I'm going to make sure that my hand is nice and tightly on there, and then make sure that I've really pressed down carefully on this, because we want that little spot. It needs to line up just right so that we don't have it looking weird when it's all finished. See how that just fits right in? Okay, and then we're going to do our second one. Go ahead and put glue on the bottom of the arm. And I already know that my glue is probably cold, so I'm just going to add another little dot of glue on the hand. And we'll just position that right on there. Just kind of work it around until it's right where it ought to be. And I'm just going to kind of press the paper a little bit. We want the paper to kind of bend, because if this were a real hand, her hand would have some curves. So we kind of want the hand to curve right around that snow globe, just like that. I may even put a little bit more glue down here at the bottom, because it feels like it wasn't quite as wet as I might have liked. Let's see. There we go. Press that hand down. And then it looks like she's holding that snow globe. Now what I also did is I added a little bit more stickles just around the edges, because there's actually the stickles underneath. You can see that. I don't know if it shows up very well here, but you could also add a little bit more glitter just around the edges, just conservatively, because we don't want to make it so that you can't see through the snow globe, because that kind of takes away from the look, I think. So I added just a little bit more stickles just right here around the edges. Just squeeze it really gently, because it has a tendency to put a big blob if you don't. So you want just a little bit more glitter. You know what, that hand looks like I could probably even sneak a teeny bit underneath it. actually probably help glue the hand there if I need more glue. That way it'll be really sparkly and look really suspended. If you need to, depending on how much bend you have in the bubble of acetate that you use for your snow globe, you may want to even take the stickles and go right around the very edge. You could also do that too if you need a little bit more gluing down. You know, if you have a gap or something, but depends on what piece of packaging you used. This one actually is matching really well, so we don't really need to do that. But that is what you need to do. And then I went through and added a little bit of shimmer to the wings. I don't know if you can see that, but I added shimmer to her wings as well. That kind of goes with the whole glitter in the snow globe look. So that is my project, and I hope you'll get your supplies and have a try at making it look more 3D. Thanks for watching.